Anthony Caro. B. New Malden, Surrey, 1924. The foremost Brit SN sculptor of his generation, and an inspiring teacher, Anthony Caro adopted his groundbreaking abstract style following a visit to the US in the late 1950s, where he discovered the work of David Smith and Kenneth Noland. Caro had previously worked in a loose figurative style, influenced by the time he had spent working as Henry Moore's assistant. On his return to London, Caro started work on a series of large-scale sculptures and metal painted in single primary colors and, significantly, placed on the ground rather than on a pint latrine 1970s. These evolved into massive constructions of less regular-shaped scrap metal, e.t. unpainted. From around 1980, he was increasingly concerned with the shapes of cund objects as well as sheet metal, and his work became reminiscent of Cub SM. This trend continued into the 1990s, eventually leading to a renewed interest in figurative forms and some smaller-scale works. Lifeline. 1947-52 S20s Estus's 8 Rival Apace SS London, 1951-53 SS As Stan Hant. Moore. 1953-79 Tense Camham et St. Martin's Son of AM 1959 80s to the Sank Sedans David S. 1963-65 Sand 15. 1975 Tons work at MoMA New York. 1980s Aputsa More Cubist Some Measurate St. 1990s Stars series of sutures So Rekov. 2005 Ter Gelleransen Mose a retrospective to mark S. 80th, Ord. The Soldier's Tale, deriving its title from a piece of music theater by Stravinsky. This work is composed of pieces of scrap metal from a dockyard. The central bowl shape, suggesting an open mouth surrounded by a frame-like structure of steel sheets. 1983 Conte Steel 183 x 208 by 135 cm. Tate, London, UK. Tundra irregular metal sheets and offcuts are welded together in massive vertical planes, and coated with clear varnish to show the color and texture of the metal. 1975 Metal 272 by 579 by 132 cm. Tate, London, UK. Midday Caro's most important innovation was dispensing with a plinth and placing his sculptures directly on the ground. Midday was constructed from industrial metal parts welded into a light and open composition, which belies the weight of the material. 1960, painted steel, 233 by 95 by 370 centimeters, MoMA, New York, U.S. William Turnbull. B. Dundee, 1922. M. Turno made NIS came in London in the 1950s as a painter, printmaker, and sculptor. After serving in the RAF during World War II, he studied at the Slade School in London, then worked in Paris for 2 years. On his return to London, he shared a studio with Edoardo Paolazzi. The late 1950s proved a turning point in Turnbull's career, when he saw exhibitions of modern American art and visited the US for the first time. As a Resunzerk became completely abstract and influenced by the color field artists, see pages 512-13, NS painting and sculpture, Turnbull began to adopt a Maist approach, but returned to a more figurative style. The late 1970s 5 by 11 9610 proved a number of painted steel sculptures in which he reduced the composition to essential geometric shapes. Many, like 5 by 1, involved the repetition of identical shapes within a simple form. 1966 Painted Steel 64 68 66 Tatter UK. Philip King. B. Cardine 1934. One of the new generation of British sculptors of the 1960s, Philip King studied at St. Martin's School of Art in London. After working for a year as Henry Moore's assistant, he returned to St. Martin's, where he taught with Anthony Caro. King worked in a loosely figurative style until 1960, but made the fundamental change to abstraction at much the same time as his mentor, Caro. Influenced initially by the simplicity of Greek architecture, King also discovered the work of American abstract artists, which prompted brightly painted sculptures in fiberglass and sheet metal exploring simple geometric forms. His later works, using a wide range of materials, have become more intricate in compass, and smaller in scale. Slant chevron shapes cut from a cardboard cone provided the pattern for the 6 overlapping elements in this work, which were made from sheet plastic. It was originally painted green, but repainted when shown on grass at an exhibition in London's Battersea Park. 1966, Arborite, plastic sheeting, 214 by 548 by 191 centimeters. William Tucker. B. Cairo, 1935. Born in Egypt to an English family, William Tucker made his name as part of the new generation of British sculptors in the mid-1960s. He later moved to the U.S. and has now taken American citizenship. Tucker graduated in history at Oxford University in 1958, and then went on to study sculpture at the Central School and St. Martin's in London. His early work, influenced by Anthony Caro and contemporaries such as Philip King, was marked by simplicity of form and brightly painted geometric shapes in wood, sheet metal, or fiberglass. Later sculptures, particularly those made after his move to the U.S. in 1977, show a move to more organic forms, and even some figurative elements. Thebes Tucker replaced the severe straight lines favored by many of his contemporaries with gently rounded shapes. He also rejected the identical repetition of Mnemosyne almost narrative variation of colors and positioning of elements. 1966, Painted Wood, 122 by 137 by 203 centimeters Hayward Gallery, London, UK.